Hey y'all, tonight I'll be comparing and contrasting the ACA Code of Ethics and the State of Texas Board rules and regulations for counseling, and also my reaction, to my informed consent that I found online from one of my counselors back in Dallas, Texas a few years ago. So a couple similarities. It was really cool just to go over both websites on the ACA Code of Ethics and the State of Texas Board rules and regulations as it relates to like informed consent. Really like going into it, I thought that they would both be identical and there wasn't going to be much difference, and I kind of have to find things to type and stuff on the differences. But it was actually like I found that there were more differences, meaning that they all aligned appropriately, but yet there was maybe some more information addressed in one or the other. So just going to like some of the similarities, there are both requirements to go over all the services that the licensee provides prior to the service, and also to make sure that you keep that updated throughout that, going over like purpose, goals, techniques, and potential risk and the benefits of counseling itself. Both also went into thoroughly going through the information collected during counseling, and then possibly talking about the results and conclusions if necessary. And then also too, it went into like what if there's an inability to give consent in the cases of like minors or incapacitated adults. So someone legally designated would need to make that decision for the clients. The differences, the ACA Code of Ethics went into the freedom to choose. So that just simply means that the client has the ability to say like, hey, like, do I want counseling or not? And then also like has the choice to leave whenever they want to. The ACA Code of Ethics also talks about developing, cultural sensitivity that is clear and understandable, and if they can't understand or relate to the counselor or the client, that they must provide a qualified translator. The TAC, where they differentiate, they go into more about conflicting roles. So an example would be if a counselor was giving marriage help to the husband and wife, and then you were called to be a witness for one party. And so then in that case, the professional counselor would have to terminate their services at that time, and to make sure that they're thorough and detailed in documenting that. Also, the TAC talks about providing services to several persons. So talking about providing the nature of relationship to all parties involved. So that might be the case of providing counseling to multiple family members or organizations, talking about the services provided, the probable use of services and outcomes of the services, and the potential limits of confidentiality. And the ASCA Code of Ethics, it differs from the TAC in that it talks about mandated counseling. So like, if someone is there for legal purposes, if they don't go through counseling because if they don't, they might go to have a jail sentence. And the Code of Ethics talks about explaining limitations to confidentiality, what might have to be shared from those sessions. I went on my previous counselor, Dr. Ryle Baker's website. She's based out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so like her informed consent was really cool. It was like listed as tabs all on her website. So by column, just going through it, she talks about like meet the therapist. So it's like her bio, her picture, gives detailed information on her credentials, outside work and accomplishments, gives information on her area of expertise, including parenting practices, anger elimination, forgiveness therapy, relationship strengthening, and also information about her techniques, including cognitive behavior therapy and narrative framework. Other helpful forms are listed on there: client intake form, limit of confidentiality or cancellation policy. There's payment insurance, services provided, psychological tests, common questions and articles and books. So it's really cool. It's all listed out. My reaction was it's extremely organized and thorough information placed in a friendly format on the website. Meets all the ACA Code of Ethics and TAC guidelines for the professional counselors. And then I especially like how the additional resources she provides includes links, hot topics, and seminars and events. So I think this is especially important because Dr. Ryle Baker's not trying to make these clients be dependent on her, but facilitate means for the client or potential client to make decisions on their own and do research on their own. And the two sources that I use was a 2014 Code of Ethics and the 2020 Texas Administrative Code of Examining Boards for the Texas State Board of Examiners of Psychologists, Rules of Practice, Rule 46511, Informed Consent.